What is the meaning of life? Not just to an individual, but to everything. The plants, the insects, the animals, and to humans. What does it mean to live? To find our purpose in life. To live, than to just simply survive. What shapes us into who we are, and into what we will become? What makes you, you? The woman carried with her a gentle step as she brought the boy into the light. A room stood before them, booming with chatter, screams, and laughter, vibrating through the walls with a chaotic excitement. However, with a single step, the woman brought a swift calming to the other children as their eyes flashed to the newcomer. She watches as all their eyes begin to divert to her. Then, with a beaming smile, she chooses to speak.
All right then, everyone. Sorry for the sudden announcement. However, starting today, we will have a new member in our family.
She smiles down at the boy beside her, but is only met with his bowed head. The red balloon above him, with printed words saying, "Hello, everyone," floats almost still as the child remains rooted in place. With his shoulders drooped and his gaze to the ground, he's nothing like how a 5-year-old should be. He appears more of a doll than a child. The woman's smile diminishes as she watches the little boy's state of being. A deep pain grabs at her heart as she pats the boy's head.
This here is Axel. Please, everyone, treat him nicely and give him the space he needs right now. He's been through a lot these past couple of days.
Her voice graces everyone, and they nod their heads in return. And with that, she gives Axel one more fleeting smile before leaving him within the crowded room. Alone, still clutching the balloon, he moves himself to a corner, silently sitting away from everyone else. The room is quick to return to its hectic state, though through the commotion a boy chooses to rise with a sympathetic heart and walks towards the boy. His brown hair swishes to the slight sudden jerk of a hand on his shoulder. Another kid shakes his blonde head at the chubbier boy.
Listen to what the lady says. Give him some time.
Although the chubby boy appears reluctant to do so, he eventually gives in and listens to the blonde boy. Lunchtime. Large umbrellas cast shade over the children as they happily eat outside. Giggles and chatter echo through the air, breaching the silent table where Axel sits alone. The older kids keep the younger ones from pestering Axel, as they know he needed the time to cope. Some still peek at the small boy staring into the sky with blank eyes. Some question why he'd not bothered to get any kind of food. Yet, at another table, 2 boys scarf down what they can before pocketing the remains of whatever is left of their meals. Nighttime. The sun vanishes into the horizon, and the moon comes out to play. Just when the adults signal everybody to go to sleep, the boys sneak outside of the orphanage. They're the very same ones who had stashed their leftovers. They plop themselves at the end of the staircase leading back to the orphanage, and in the light of an old lamppost, the 2 stare out into the distance, watching the occasional flicker of light from the worn street lamps. The road before them hadn't fared any better, as trash was strewn along the sidewalks and several cracks left behind uneven patches of asphalt. And in the edges of darkness, a few people sleep with what little they have. Then, from out of the darkness of the streets, something approaches them. However, they both smile as they see the stray puppy approaching them. It's small, gray, and one of its legs is wrapped in a thin bandage, forcing a small limp from it. The boys pet the little dog as it happily barks and wags its tail. Then, they take out their leftovers and offer it along with a small cup of water for the little puppy to drink from.
There you go, little buddy. All for you.
The boy with the blonde hair states as he caresses the puppy's ear.
Glad to see the bandage is helping you recover, pal. You're walking a little better now.
The chubby boy points out with a hopeful grin. The two of them had found her injured while on one of their nightly looking up at the stars routine. The poor thing was at the bottom of the staircase, near where they sat now, with a bleeding leg and shivering to near death. The two boys just couldn't leave it there, so instead, they went back into the orphanage, snuck past the adults, grabbed some bandages, food, water, and a blanket before rushing back to its aid. At first, she was very afraid of the two. She barked and growled, but with an injured leg and barely having any energy left, she couldn't get away. It was only until the two boys offered her food did she let them get close enough for the boys to tend to her injury while she ate the food they offered. After she finished, the two boys wrapped her in a warm blanket and took turns warming her up throughout the night. And now, she comes back every night to the orphanage with a happy trot as the two boys come back every night as well to give her food. They sadly couldn't keep her in the orphanage, otherwise, they would have her inside. So they vowed to do what they could to at least heal her up before ultimately sending her off. After that interaction, they say their goodbyes before turning to head back. By now, even all the adults were asleep, so they just walk around the hallways until they find their room. Their room is cramped, even if there's little within it besides the 4 bunk beds lining the walls. Light casts through a single large window at the farthest end of the room, like rays from heaven. It illuminates the withered wallpaper which clings half-heartedly to the walls, and as they enter, the floorboards groan under their weight. Nevertheless, no one seemed to mind the circumstance and grew to adapt to them. And this room, in particular, belongs only really to these two boys. They could walk with no worry. However, before they could begin preparing their beds to sleep, an unfamiliar sound halted them. It's as if someone is crying, though the weeping is too quiet for them to tell for sure. At least, it's until they turn to find the source. It comes from the small boy from before, Axel, sitting on the other side of the room facing the wall of a top bunk. Silence takes hold of the room as both of them softly approach the quivering figure, the balloon he had earlier popped on the floor. He brings his knees closer to his chest, hugging them tightly as he continues to sob, unaware of the other's presence.
I'm all alone now.
He hugs himself tightly, letting his tears drop to the bed.
I have no family.
The boys give a gentle tap on the metal structure supporting the 2 bunk beds. They've tried their best to give him some time, but now, more than anything, he needs somebody to be there for him. Axel's shoulders jump up as he hastily tries to wipe his tears before turning to meet the 2 boys. Small smiles reflect in his eyes as the 2 kids greet him.
Hello. My name is Tom.
The chubby kid decides to speak first.
And my name is George.
The blonde-haired kid hurriedly adds.
Sorry for startling you. I just want you to know, you are no longer alone anymore. Me and him are here with you. In fact, everybody in this building is here with you. As the lady said, we are all family here.
Tom nods to George's statement before repeating it with a beaming smile.
He's right. We are all here for you. Axel, you're not alone anymore.
However, Axel shakes his head as he instinctively pushes himself further away from them. The tears don't stop as they keep rolling down his cheeks, even faster than before.
My parents, they abandoned me. They didn't want me. They called me the devil's child.
Axel sobs as he breaks down in front of them. His heart can no longer handle the burden he's been enduring. Both of them glance at each other with a loss of words. But within that moment, Tom's face lightens as an idea appears.
Let's be your first friends. Huh?
A sniffle erupts from Axel as he is caught off guard. His tears fade as he stares at Tom, confused.
That's a wonderful idea! Okay, Axel. From now on, you will fill our third slot. We'll become the Three Musketeers!
Excitement explodes on George's face and flails before the others. Even more, confusion rises in Axel, but at least he'd stopped crying. At this, the two shoot another wide smile to help settle his mind.
You'll see just how wonderful our family is. It doesn't always have to be by blood that makes you family. It can also be through friendship and camaraderie.
Tom wraps an arm around George's head as he speaks with glee.
Welcome aboard, Axel. From today and onward, you'll be one of us.
George states with a tone of sincerity. Axel just awkwardly stares at them. He's at a loss. For all his life, he was alone throughout the scorching days and the shivering nights. He had just been surviving off of the streets. Never had he ever been treated this way. He doesn't know what to say, what to feel. But then, his heart starts to beat loudly. He clutches his chest with one hand as he senses an odd sensation, and yet, he doesn't seem to mind it. Tom places something covered in napkins onto Axel's bed.
Here, it's the sandwich they served at lunch. I didn't finish it and I noticed you didn't eat anything. Don't worry, this piece doesn't have germs, as I ate my sandwich in pieces.
Though, before Axel can attempt to respond, they both go to the opposite side of the room and hop onto their bed. As they are trying to sleep, they both hear Axel quietly eating away at the sandwich. This brought a smile to the both of them as they went to sleep with a peaceful conscience. Little did Axel know, something beautiful was about to bear fruit. With today marking the end of his troubled past, the three of them will forge a bond that could not be shaken. And this bond is family.